Okay, I guess we're live. I'm trying something new today. See if it does something. Okay, we are learning Likutei Sichos, Volume 1. And we're learning the Sicha for Metzora, and we're in the final chapter. The final chapter is one long chapter. It's not so long, actually. And it's a fun chapter. It's a fun chapter, but it deals with something that every Lubavitcher knows, and most of the people around the world already know. And it's a beautiful example of amtaka, of sweetening. Probably one of the most beautiful in the whole book. B'chodesh Nisan, so chapter 10. In the month of Nisan, page 230. Metzuim kama sugei inyanim. There are a number of different inyanim, different issues that we take care of. Inyanim shem midoraita, there are issues from the Torah, Deoraisa, and midrabanan, veminagim. And there are some customs, and there are things from the sages. Mikarei chodesh Nisan u Chag HaPesach. One of the most major things in Nisan is the holiday of Pesach. כפי שהגמרא מסבירה את המשנה שבאחד בניסן ראש השנה לרגלים, just as the Mishnah says that the first day of Nisan is the new year for the festivals. So we know why we need a new year for festivals. We mean the first festival, because if a person says, I'm going to bring something to the Mikdash, some Hekdesh, something that he's going to donate, a cow or whatever he wants to bring, or money. So he has 3 festivals to bring it. And there's a machlokus in the Gemara, in Maseches Rosh Hashanah, there's a machlokus about how do we count the festivals? Do we start, does it mean 3 festivals from where he is now? So let's say he said it before Shavuos. So it's Shavuos, Sukkos, and Pesach. Or is it that it has to be a whole year beginning with Pesach? So even if he's before Shavuos, he actually has a year and a half to bring it. And anyway, that's one of the nafkaminas for which festival is the first. In any case. With Pesach, it's important to know that in Pesach especially, there are these 3 types of inyanim, 3 types of issues. What are these 3 types of issues? Like we said, from the Torah, from the sages, and customs. What does that mean? The Pesach, more than any other holiday, is very complex. It's more complex than all the other holidays. Because there's so much that we need to do. And above it all looms the notion that if you eat chametz, if you eat leavened dough in any form, or in any type of mixture, whatever, and even if you eat an iota of it, an iota means basically something you cannot even see, then you're chayav kares. You are cut off. The soul is cut off from its source. Or you can maybe do tshuva for it. But it's very serious. There's only a couple of things in the Torah that we do that are really only 2 things that are prescriptive things that we do, that if you don't do, you're chayav kares. The other one is circumcision. And so every moment that the person is not circumcised, the male is not circumcised, then he's cut off from his soul's root. But beyond that, there's a lot of Derabanan, because from the Torah, it wasn't forbidden to eat an iota. From the Torah was just kazayis, maybe chatzishiu, half a kazayis. But the Rabbanan of the sages, in order to push us far away from eating chametz, so they said even an iota, even kolshu, anything. And so on, and there's a lot but there's a lot of customs. Like the minhag in Chabad is like the minhag by most Hasidim, that you don't eat anything you can't peel. You certainly can't eat anything that's processed, comes from a factory. All the Hasidim do that. All the Hasidim peel. Or all the Hasidim I've ever seen. I've seen Satmar, I've seen Vizhnitz, I've seen Tzanz. You've seen Tzanz, they peel. But, for instance, in bells, where they peel, they have added customs, added chumras. For instance, They won't eat anything that they didn't have in bells in Europe. Again, but in Chabad is more lenient than that, because most people in Chabad joined in the last 2 generations. So people don't know what they had in Lubavitch. Nobody knows. And people who do know, they're not saying thankfully. But in Belz, it's like that the Rebbeim in Belz, they davened, they prayed that these things would not have chametz. That's how they explain their minhag. So there's a lot of minhagim. If anything falls on any utensil falls on the ground, you don't use it anymore for that Pesach. You don't have to kasher it, but and so on. בעבר היה קיים מנהג שלפני פסח היו שולחים הרבנים מצות שמורות או מצה שמורה לבעלי בתים שלהם. So there was a custom in the past, he says, that the rabbis of communities would distribute matzah shmura to the people that lived in their town, their burghers, as they call it in Yiddish, a balabas. מערכת מצות, כלומר 6 מצות לשני הסדרים. They used to send out 2 times 3, 6 matzahs that were made specifically from wheat that was guarded from the time that it was cut, so they wouldn't come in contact with water. And this was a custom. שתי מצות עבור כזית המצווה, כלומר המצה האמצעית. At least, if they didn't have 6, so they send out 2. 1 for each Seder. In Chutzar is 2 Sdarim. And they send out 2 matzahs for the middle matzah in each Seder. Because the middle matzah is what you eat for the afikoman. So that you have a kazais. טעם המנהג בפשטות היה יצירת מקור הכנסה לרב. The simple reason for this in the past was that people paid for it. They didn't pay because it cost a certain amount of money, but it's not nice to receive a present from the rabbi, and he sends it out to everybody. Everybody knew that this was something that you should give money for. Right? Like, for instance, when you go to sell your chametz, there's a minhag to give the rav, even though he's not doing it for that. And if you don't give, nothing will happen. But there's a minhag to give him a tip, as it were. Okay? So some people use the opportunity to give him much more than just a tip for selling the chametz. You give him a nice amount. אבל בכך דאגו לעניין העיקרי. But by doing this custom, so they had a chance to take care of a very important issue. And what was the issue? קיימים הרי הרבה דינים ודקדוקים במצוות מצה, במצות מצווה. To bake the matzahs for the mitzvah, for eating matzah on the night of the Seder. So I said before that it's for the afikoman. It's not for the afikoman. It's for the matzah that you eat. For the middle matzah, for the matzah that you eat. So when you bake this matzah, there's a lot of halachos, a lot of laws that you need to know. It's not a simple matter at all. And the people that know how to bake matzah, they're few and far in between. And not just talking about how to do it, which is a Torah in and of itself, but even just knowing the halachas, just learning the 3/4 simanim in Shulchan Aruch is not easy. ואין כולם בקיאים בהם ומסוגלים לקיימם, and not everybody knows them, and all the more so that not everyone knows how to actually perform them when you're baking the matzah. לפיכך סיפקו אותם הרבנים לבעלי הבתים כדי שיצאו בוודאי ידי מצות מצוות מצה. So when it came from the rabbi who was very bucky in this and knew how to do this, so they were sure that at least the matzah of mitzvah, maybe it's not chametz, but to make it exactly like it needs to be, that was something that they knew. So everybody was zocha in the mitzvah. Everybody had the mitzvah. מפני טעמים שונים במקומות רבים התבטל המנהג. For different reasons, in many places this minhag disappeared. Mostly because communities weren't communities anymore. They sort of broke apart. אין נוגע עתה הדיון בטעמים מדוע התבטל המנהג. So he says there's a whole discussion about why this minhag, this custom disappeared. We're not going to discuss it. מה שברצוני לומר הוא כי הנני מבקש ולו ישר חילי הייתי מצווה להנהיג שוב את המנהג שרבנים ישלחו מצות שמורה לבעלי בתים שלהם. So he says, I want to request, and if I had enough strength, power, I would command, I would make it into a commandment, meaning people listen to me. Obviously it's not a commandment for somebody who doesn't listen. To reinstate this custom, that the rabbis should send shmura matzah to their members, to the members of their congregations. ולא רק רב, and not just the rabbi should do this. כי אם כל מי שיש לו השפעה, anybody who has influence should do this. רב, שוחט, או שמש, it could be a rabbi, it could be a shochet, somebody who slaughters animals, a ritual slaughterer, or shamash, or somebody who's just the gabbai in the shul. אם יש לו מישהו שכאשר ישלח לו מצות ישתמש עליו בסדר, if he knows someone that if he gives him shmura matzah, he'll use it in the seder, these specific matzahs that he sent, עליו לעשות זאת, he should do this. לשלוח לו מצות, דווקא עגולות, you should send him matzahs, specifically they should be round. Why should they be round? Because that's what it says in the pasuk. Ugot matzot ki lo chametz. Ugot means, doesn't mean cakes. Everybody translates it as cakes. This week I saw that my good friend Moshe Vishnevsky translated it as cakes. I haven't had a chance to ask him why. But ugot does not mean cakes. It means round. I don't know why. Maybe he has some etymology I haven't thought of. But the pshat of the word uga is not a cake. The pshat of the word uga is round. So it's round matzahs. That's what it says. They made round matzahs because they didn't have time to. Dafka fluyot yad, it has to be hand baked and not machine baked. It's very interesting that in the machine baked, one of the things they did, they could have made them round also. But I think the rabbi said there has to be a difference in the same way that you make a difference between a cake that is milchik and a cake that is parv. Not a cake, but like burekas. No, what do you call it? What do you call them though? Yeah, but what do you call it in English? I understand. What do you call these things? A ma'afeh. How do you say a ma'afeh in English? No, there's a word for it. Any kind of thing that's baked, if it's milchik, it has to be in triangular form. Why? It was decided a long time ago that this would help people not make a mistake and not bring the wrong and not think that they were eating something that was parve when it was actually milchik. So they have to differentiate between the two. I don't know if there's a difference in bread. If anybody knows what the difference is, you have to be told. Yeah, but what do you do? No. So a lot of people make milchik bread now, and they thousands, maybe we're up to 1 million Jews that receive shmura matzah from different people. Most of them are Lubavitch, but the whole world is caught on to this because again, this is a minhag that used to exist. Who talks about this minhag? So the Snei Chemed brings all the different minhagim, and another source is a Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch actually talks about this. No, Shulchan Aruch doesn't talk about it, but he says it's a custom. במקומות בהם נותנים לערוך סדרים כלליים כבתי מלון וכדומה, מובן שמסדרי הסדרים צריכים לעשות זאת. In places where there are communal seders, I heard something amazing last night. I didn't know this. Maybe in the back of my mind I suspect that this was happening. But you know who's having seders now? Churches. Churches in America. See, in England they haven't figured this out yet. But in America, there's a lot of churches that have a communal seder. Now, what's your reaction? I think the reaction of most Jews is, what are they trying to do? I think that the correct reaction is, this is a good sign. Why is it a good sign? Because they're beginning to understand where they came from, and there's nothing wrong with a non-Jew eating matzah. It's perfectly fine, it's perfectly good. Is he performing a mitzvah or not? That's a different question. We don't want to get into it. It's a complex question. if he's a... Yeah, probably. Oh, it's back. So it's a good thing, first of all, because a lot more people need matzah. So we don't need one bakery in every country. We need 100 bakeries across all the world. And that's a good parnasa, first of all. There's a lot of simple Jews, but that's all they can do. So fine, so they make matzah. Very good. But the other thing that happens is that a Jew that sees that in his local church they're now advertising. Imagine, advertising. You know, in America they have these, on the lawn of the church, they have this billboard. And it says, Friday night we're going to have a Seder. And we're going to have matzah and 4 cups of wine. So the Jew, he's always obstinate. He says, of course I'm not going to come to this second-rate plagiary. I'm going to have my own. And that convinces him that even if the Goyim are having Sedarim, how come I'm not having? This is mine. So this could be the best thing in the world, that it will now reach Jews who have never done a Seder maybe. And they'll go and they say, but where's the real thing? I'll say, well, maybe there's a Chabad house here, maybe there's some kind of other from shul here. And they'll go and they'll and you told me the story about how your son started, right? You started with the Seder, no? You came to make Sedarim in London, wherever he is, and they said there's no need for it, we don't need it here. You told me that story. What? Yeah, so how did he open the Beit Chabad? He started from Sedarim. That was the first story. You told me that was the first thing that he did there. That they were that everybody told him, we don't need it here.
Oh yeah, then they called him up and they said...
Right. בסדר. וגדולה ומעלת סגולת המצה, שהיא כלשון הזוהר הקדוש, מאיכא דאסוותא ומאיכא דמינון. Now we're coming to the sweetening. So how is this sweetening? First of all, sweetening is the things that in the past were gone, come back. That's for sure. So here he's bringing back a minhag that he says disappeared for a while. But the other thing is that the Zohar calls the matzah by 2 things. The bread, or the food of health, and the food of faith. And faith is the basis of everything. We talked about faith in the previous sicha, previous discourse. We talked about the difference between the faith of a Jew and the faith of a non-Jew. Right? We said there's a big difference. Was it in the previous sicha or it was this week? It was this week. Okay. Sorry, it was this week. No, it was last week. It was last week. Okay. So last week we talked about the difference between the faith of a Jew and the faith of a non-Jew. So what is it with the faith of a Jew? That God acts from above nature. And on the whole Seder, that's what it's about. That we're above nature. That when we're above, that we can reach that level. And that God comes down from above nature into the world. So the big deal here is that you can eat this. This is an incredible thing. And when you talk about healing, we say, who's healing in the end? God is healing. It's the same Inyan. Healing comes from beyond, not from where we are. So we talked in the beginning of this week, we were talking about the fact that there's always something missing. In whatever you try to do, there's always going to be one element that's missing. Why? Because there has to be faith. There has to be confidence. The faith is that there's Hashem. He's above the world. Even the world itself, it has something missing in it. And Hashem completes it. The confidence is that He will complete it. And so that comes in 2 forms. The Yamunah, the faith, that's the faith that we talked about. But the refuah, that's the confidence already. Because when a person asks for health, that's the main place where he has a picture of what he wants. He has a very clear picture of what he wants. He says, my knee hurts. I want it to stop hurting. He doesn't say, you know, Hashem, I want you to send me health. I don't care how you do it. Maybe they'll cut off my leg and that'll be fine also because it won't hurt anymore. That's not what he says. He says, I want you to heal my knee. Or I want you to heal my intestines. Or a person has an exact picture of what he wants, and that's what he davens for. But the fact is, you can eat it here. What's greater than sweetening than eating something? It goes straight into you. And it's sweet. The whole thing is a sweetening experience. That I'm now eating faith. If before faith was a difficult thing, here all I need to do is eat it. If before healing was I had to have an operation, I was just eating a piece of matzah. Now it's gone. והרי אמונה היא יסוד כל המצוות והחיים בכלל. Faith is the basis of all life and all the mitzvot. כי קיום המצווה כפי הצריך ובהידור, ייתן חיות וקיום התורה והמצוות בכל השנה. Because doing this mitzvah, the way it should be done, and behidur, with all the trappings, all different things that make it beautiful, that beautify it, it will bring life and the performance and the commitment to Torah and mitzvahs throughout the year. שתהא שנת בריאות ברוחניות וממילא שנת בריאות בגשמיות. It should be a healthy year spiritually, and if it's spiritually a healthy year, it will also by necessity be a physically healthy year. And with this we finished this sikha, and tomorrow we'll see what we'll do. Maybe we'll start the Pesach, because the Pesach is longer, so it's a good idea to start it even tomorrow.
Especially since next week it's going to be busy. Getting ready for Pesach.
That's right.